In a perfect world, Tristan would be in a group home. His friends would be with him. They would always find things to do. They're a tight bunch of guys. For autism, he's very social. There's just nobody out there. Rainbow.
Ideally, I would like him to have his own home, his own apartment, where he is free to be himself and supported to do so.
That idea that she can live her life as close to what any of the rest of us would want. She needs the supports and the communication to be able to do that. If it's in place, look what she's done.
Connor has a disability through no fault of his own, right? It's nothing we did, it's nothing he did. Any parent, what they want for their children is to be happy, healthy, and safe. And so Connor's version of that may look different, but it doesn't make him any less entitled to have that in his life. You know, last year there was a big push in advocacy, not just here in Pennsylvania, but nationally, because supports for people with developmental disabilities, the whole system's collapsing. You know, I know we're living in a world where there's not enough staff, but we were here way before the pandemic even happened, and these issues still have not been addressed. So despite, I think, the biggest advocacy movement we've had in a while at the state level from all areas of the state, we still wound up becoming budget losers. We didn't get any additional funding to be able to pay our staff higher wages. So it's been a year since we told our story last, and Connor's still home rocking and rolling, but the reality is his world is contracting. And it's really all left over from COVID. I mean, you take a guy with autism that already has like limited interests and experiences. We shrunk it down more during COVID. The world started to open up, but he couldn't wear a mask. So his world got closed even longer. And then trying to get him back into the routine of going back to day program, it's just been a challenge. Most days he refuses to go right now, so he's home with mom and dad, and it's bleeding into not just going to day program, but things like getting him to a doctor's appointment. We can't get him there. He's got to be seen by the doctor. Dental appointments, he's not cooperative, there's a new dentist. And simple things like taking a bath, issues that normally he was pliable and had flexibility with, that were just routine things, are now met with obstinance and behavior challenges. So his world is contracting.
How do I say this? How do I say why?
Can we put it in the oven real quick? Okay. If it means that much to you. Not going to die on this hill.
Well, and I think when contacted about doing part 2, that was my initial thought. Gosh, things definitely have improved. But the reason I came back is because at our ages, my husband's and mine, we know for a fact that we're not going to be here forever. You know, at our ages, the key word for all of this is sustainability. It's got to be sustainable when we are no longer there, to advocate for her, to pick up any other pieces. And that is why I came back. Our daughter's needs are very complex. And along with the complexity of her diagnoses, she also has a severe hearing loss. And she communicates primarily with sign language. So when we do find that staff that stays long enough to really get to know her and understand her, develop a rapport, and communicate with her, it's gold. And what we have realized, however, is you take that same staff, or maybe even 2 staff, out of the equation, and the phrase house of cards really plays through our heads. And I honestly believe that what we're asking DSPs to do today is what we would have been asking of folks with master's degrees in the past. It's really quite a job. So no wonder we lose folks. Good folks.
This shed that we're in is a very special and beautiful place. It began as a dream, a vision, a hope that I couldn't make happen until the immediate community around us, our friends, some family stepped in and said, we need to help you make this happen for Tyler. And in the end, we were able to purchase a brand new 10 by 20 shed to place on our property with the intent of creating not only a workshop, a work area for Tyler to build and grow hands-on skills, but to also open an area where the community could come to us. So this time last year, we really had no services aside from a weekly behavioral visit. We really had nothing. It was just him and I, 24/7, doing everything.
And how has that changed over the course of the year, if it has?
It's not changed at all, actually. We've still not been able to access any services to get support in the home or community. Something that we never like to talk about is really how hard this can be. We are expected to be everything and to do everything. And I have found in these last several months that I'm running completely empty. And sometimes just really sad, because what other alternative do I have?
So how long have you been dating?
For like, I think, nearly, like
7 months maybe?
Let's see here, August 21st.
August, September,
Since
October, November,
August
December,
21st, so
January, February, March, like about 8 months now.
8 months actually.
Do you like living with mom? Do you want to live with your mom forever?
No. But I don't want to be alone though.
Yeah. That's music to my ears. I'm sorry. The reason we're not in the group home is because the agency is having a difficult time getting a staffing for a new home that they bought. This has just been an ongoing problem since I really started to get into this. When he graduated high school, that's when I'm realizing that people just aren't being paid their value in this profession. And these people are wonderful. The government has just chosen not to make this a priority, make people with intellectual disabilities a priority. And I think it's time they do. So he can be happy. Mm-hmm. So once Tristan goes to a group home and gets settled in, my day-to-day life will completely change. My husband has retired We have big plans too. Long weekends and day trips and just doing all of the stuff that we enjoy doing. Hiking in the mountains, biking, just my life would be significantly different. It already has since last year. I was like so stressed last year, and knowing that he's going to be in a safe place, my stress level and the need for some medications to keep me calm have gone away. And that's huge. I'm very happy. I'm at a good place. I'm happy for him.
I think it's important that people are aware that those caring for children or adults with developmental disabilities have to make some hard life choices and decisions because there's not a support system there to support, Connor's needs or his full set of needs or people's full sets of needs for their family members. My husband served in the United States Air Force for 20 years. He is a military veteran. He served in order to protect your freedoms, my freedoms, all of our freedoms, but it's all for a country that doesn't protect and defend its vulnerable citizens.
What more can we be doing for this strategic workforce? I mean, they are the backbone of success for our individuals. And I have a son who's an educator, a teacher. Doing an internship for teaching can now come with a $15,000 stipend. And yet, hello, what are we doing that would be anything remotely comparable for our workforce, our individuals? It feels very much like we are in the bottom line of priority.
It would improve our lives within a short period of time if we had staffing. If I could just be able to go away for coffee with my daughter, his sister. If I could go visit my son at college, my other son who's away at college, and that Tyler would be okay with being home. My other children would not even be able to grasp that reality. When you live in a rural community, you feel forgotten.
So we look to our elected officials to live up to their obligations to provide for the general welfare of this vulnerable population. But for decades, they haven't addressed these issues. They are systemic, and they've been going on for decades. This is a nonpartisan issue. My son shouldn't be used as a pawn in a budget. And I understand that we're living in a world with limited resources, but when you say yes to something, you're effectively saying no to something else. Stop saying no to people with developmental disabilities. Everywhere you go nowadays, somebody knows someone with a developmental disability. So if you care about this cause and you think it should be a priority, we really need you to call your legislator. And you don't have to say much. You can just literally say, can we please be fully supporting people with developmental disabilities to make sure that they have the resources they need? Well, we lost in last year's budget. There is potential for this year's budget. I'm just hopeful that the General Assembly agrees to that. Thank you.